love now and
Did you fall in love last night?
I love her.
Love was stronger than anything.
For the love.
And I love you more than anything.
There's still love. Love.
From the New York Times, I'm Anna Martin. This is Modern Love, and my guest today is Kyla Harris. I hadn't been talking to Kyla for very long before the two of us were discussing her urethra. Now, talking about your urethra with someone you've just met might be uncomfortable for some people. I would say probably most people. But Kyla has lots of experience talking about how her body feels, how it works, what it needs. Kyla is disabled. That's how she describes herself. And her disability means that she needs someone there to help her use the bathroom, make food, take a shower. Everything she wants or needs to do is a group project. And that becomes especially interesting when it comes to her sex life. Kyla is super open about that too, and I will say we get pretty explicit in this conversation. She made a TV show called We Might Regret This that's full of funny, intimate scenes, and it's inspired by what it's been like for her to live and love and get it on as a disabled person. Our conversation made me blush, which is not easy to make me do. It made me snort laugh, which actually, unfortunately, is kind of easy to make me do. And it made me totally rethink what intimacy can mean. Kyla Harris, welcome to Modern Love.
Thanks, Hannah. I feel very welcomed.
Okay, Kyla, you had an accident that changed your life when you were 15 years old. But even before all of that happened, I want a picture of 15-year-old you. What was happening in your world? Were you dating? Did you have crushes? What was going on?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think 15-year-old me was this kind of nubile character that was starting to really understand the power of sexuality. And I was already incredibly developed. So I had the tits and ass to rival J-Lo.
And nubile and tits and ass. Yes. I'm loving the range here. Yeah.
Those are my references.
I love it. Okay, yes, J-Lo.
So, yeah, I mean, it was, when I was growing up, it was an era of the kind of heroin chic, and I felt like I really wasn't represented out there. And I had this incredibly curvy body. I had, large breasts, a large bum, and I was so relieved when I saw J-Lo come kind of twerking into the scene because it felt like I was finally seeing myself out there.
Were you curious about sex at this point in your life?
So, yeah, I definitely had sexual experiences. The first time that I was fingered was on a ski bus when we were going on a ski trip.
Isn't there so many layers of clothing involved in skiing? I mean, this is cool.
This is next level, right? I just went in next level. Really?
I really don't ski, but in my imagination, a ski suit is like a onesie. Like, getting the fingers in there would be very difficult.
It was, and I don't know, there was like the thrill of being on a bus, because we were on a bus, with the other students, and I tried to give my first hand job, which was, I would say, not successful. I wouldn't ask him. I don't know.
You were on a bus. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're on a bus.
Thank you. Yeah, and probably in a onesie. So I loved the thrill of that. Like, I loved the thrill of knowing that I was this sexual being, and knowing that I could, just knowing that I could use my body in this way.
I'm going to transition. There's no easy way to transition, but I will say you were on a school trip when you had this accident that I referenced at the top of our conversation. Can you tell me whatever you'd like about what happened?
Yeah, so I was on a school trip, and I broke my neck, and I knew something had happened right away. And when I was, after I'd broken my neck, I was lying there, and I remember so distinctly feeling this unbelievable sense of calm and peace. And feeling the light through my eyes, the sunlight through my eyes. I kept my eyes closed. And it was almost euphoric. And then I said, can everyone just back away? I'll get up. Just give me a couple minutes. I'm going to get up. But I didn't. And I was, because we were in a really rural area for the school trip, I was strapped to a picnic table and put in a boat and rowed ashore and put in an ambulance and went to the closest hospital.
Thank you for sharing that. Your parents come, I assume, quite quickly. Did you have awareness of what was going on?
Yeah, so my dad was a builder, and I'd spent that summer helping him paint the exterior of houses, do up stuff, whatever he was working on. And I'd saved up money to buy these board shorts that I absolutely loved. And I was wearing these board shorts, and they said, we're going to have to cut these off. And I was devastated.
Listen, the 15-year-old in me who also saved up to buy stuff, I'm feeling that hard. Wait, just to sort of memorialize them, do you remember what they look like?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I'd say like a hot red with some obviously Hawaiian white hibiscus flowers all over. I mean, it was the 90s.
God, yeah.
So the first thing I felt devastated by was my board shorts being cut off, not the idea that I broke my neck.
Did you feel like indignation, disbelief? Do you remember what was running through your mind?
Yeah, completely. Completely. I felt absolutely indignation. And I also felt like immediately I was like, oh gosh, this is just a bone that's going to have to heal. I thought it's just going to be like a broken arm. It's just a bit more annoying because I'm probably going to have to wear a neck brace, but I'm sure I'll be fine in 3 months. And I remember calling my best friend and saying, in 3 months' time, we're going to be, why don't you come around and let's go skiing again.
Huh.
So
the extent had not sunk in yet.
No, and then soon after, this doctor came in who my mom and I later called Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom.
And he, yeah, you get the
sense in where this is going.
Yeah, you can imagine. And he came in and he said, "You're never going to be able to walk again," to me and my mom. No, I'm sorry. No cushioning. No sensitivity, empathy. That I was a young girl who had not understood what was going on. And my automatic thought was, well, then I don't want to live. And it wasn't until I'd say about 10 years later that I realized that the reason why I had that reaction was because I'd know nothing about wheelchair users. I'd know nothing about what life might look like or feel like or be like if I wasn't able to walk. And I'm not able to use my hands. I'm tetraplegic. I can move my arms, but it was always this emphasis on walking, on standing, on running, on skiing, on swimming.
I mean, it that feels like with that Dr. Doom, I'm glad now it's a bit of a joke, but that is probably the worst way that someone could share this news with you. You're realizing in that moment that your life is going to be completely different, right? Completely different from anything you'd envisioned about what your future would be.
Absolutely.
That is such a heavy thing to carry. Were you sharing how you were feeling with your parents, or was this something you kept for yourself?
I'm not sure that I shared that with my parents. But I think it was one of those things that I ended up living. It was day after day. It was just very much about being in the moment and being with my changing body and understanding what that meant. It was really like being in the Matrix and not being asked if you want to take the red pill or the blue pill, but it being shoved down your damn throat.
Dang. That's a way worse version of that scene, I would say.
Same result.
Yeah, same result. Same result. We started our conversation by talking about, sex and crushes and that kind of like fizzy feeling of being 15, and also the discovery you were undergoing with your own body, with its power. I guess I wonder, like, after this accident, were you worried about what your love life was going to look like? Like, did you worry about, well, will I have a partner, or these classic teenage experiences of, sex and romance? Was that running through your mind?
Yeah. So about 10 days after I was in intensive care, I went to a physical rehabilitation center. And I was on the I don't know why they called it young adult ward of this rehabilitation center.
Like the teen floor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I would say it was kind of like a mixed boarding school with mobility equipment.
Tell me more about what you mean by that.
Okay, teens equal horny as fuck.
100. Oh my God, and then you're all on this floor.
And we're all on this floor.
Okay, can you tell I didn't go to boarding school? I was like, so you're taking classes. Okay, you're talking about like people are horny for each other and there's like sexual tension flying all over between rooms or...
Exactly. Okay, so there was a cafeteria and there were like, in the cafeteria, it was the exact same thing as high school. It would be like, there's a group of the cool kids. And I remember the nurses were also maybe only like 10 years older than us. They were also all like total gossips. So I remember one of the nurses coming to me and saying, okay, I don't know if you know about the guy next door, but he was shot in the back. And guess what? And I was like, Go on, Jody. And she.
This is like a total breach of the Hippocratic Oath or whatever. But I'm all for it.
I'm
okay,
like,
keep going.
Tell me the deets. Give me the tea. And she was like, one of the things that disabled people, like when you're paralyzed, you experience your spasms sometimes, like which are like contractions of muscles. So she goes, so he has some quite unusual spasms in that his penis spasms and he will have an erection for hours. Like Viagra-free erections.
You're like, and, you don't say.
And then she was like, and his girlfriend will come and ride him for hours. So this is what the kind of boarding school experience I had.
I am getting a picture, my friend. Wow. Okay. God, I mean, it sounds fun actually, which is probably a weird word to put to that.
Everything felt heightened. Every moment of joy was the most impossibly joyous thing you could experience. Every moment of difficulty was like experiencing 1,000 heartbreaks. So while there was this kind of like sexual experimentation going on and this horniness and this, what can I do in this body and where am I in the kind of ranking of popularity, then there was this, at one point I got pneumonia and one of my lungs collapsed and I had to go back into emergency, into the intensive care unit. So there was this incredible, there was a taste of death in your mouth when you weren't tasting someone else's tongue.
Did you just come up with that now?
I did. That's for free. That's for you.
Stay with us. Well, I guess I want to know, like, specifically for you, in the context of this horny teen wing, were you exploring with someone? Like, what was happening with you?
Yes. Yeah. So I always had visitors, loads of visitors.
Yeah.
And it became this kind of group, and you'd see the regulars, and you'd be living with the other disabled people, and you'd see the regulars of their friends who would come by. Their best friend who would be there every week. Or, my best friend flew in from Ontario, and there was this guy who was really good looking, who was disabled and had an accident a couple months before me. So he felt a little senior to me on the in the
cafeteria,
exactly.
As it were. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And my friend Caitlin had come over, and they hit it off.
Oh, your best friend hit it off with the guy.
My best friend hit it off with him, and his best friend, who was visiting him regularly, he and I hit it off. So our first double date was essentially on a hospital ward. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So there was this guy's best friend you start hooking up with. Is that what it was? Okay.
But before that,
how was it?
I was also making out with other disabled people as well, obviously.
Of course you were. Yeah. Hello.
There were loads of really hot people there. Like, we're like the outdoorsy risk takers, right? Like, we're a type. And they were all there. And it was 24 hours a day. I mean, we were all living together for months. How could you not make out with all of them?
100%. But this friend you start hooking up with, what is that like for you? Because you'd had these sexual experiences, as you mentioned, how could we forget the ski trip? But now you're in this body that's changed, right?
Yeah, I think it felt like a new life.
Huh.
I think it felt like the life that I'd had completely gone and would never be the same. Even though I was in denial, I still knew I would never be the same. Even if I started walking again, I would never be the same. And when I was with him, and when we would be intimate in very kind of innocent ways, he gave me the hope that I would be loved again, and that I could be sexy again, and that maybe he wouldn't be the only one that would think that.
Can I ask, is there a specific moment that sticks out when you think about him and your time together?
Yeah. So I was a virgin up until this point. Although apparently virginity is a myth as well. It's just an expansion and contraction of the vaginal walls.
Different episode, but hear that.
Yeah. And we'd been kind of seeing each other. He'd been coming around. We'd been making out. And I went back to my parents' home. And I was there for my birthday. And it was the worst birthday I've ever had, my 16th birthday. But this guy came to visit me at my parents' place. And by that time I was kind of, I was less fragile. So I was able to he would just kind of lift me in like a wedding threshold style and throw me on the couch, or I'd sit in wherever.
Yeah.
And I remember I was sitting beside him, and he was wearing this white hoodie that I loved. Obviously the 90s.
Obviously.
And I had my legs over him, and I turned to him and I went, "You, me, sex, soon."
That just came forth from where? I love that.
I don't know. I think it came forth from a sense of excitement, from a sense of want
desire.
And desire and joy, and to feel like I was safe with him and also safe in my body again.
Again, only as much as you want to share, but did you, me, sex soon happen?
Of course it did. I mean, who would refuse that?
Oh my gosh. I mean, listen, again, as we've sort of referenced virginity, kind of a construct, but how was it to have sex for the first time, again, sort of as you're figuring out what your body can do?
I think at that point, it felt like my virginity was just a bit of a tick box.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really remember the sex that we had the first time I had sex or penetrative sex. But even though I was starting to feel like I had no control over my body, sure, and that it was, you know, I'd pee when I didn't want to pee, or, you know, shit when I didn't want to shit. It gave me a sense of being back into my body.
Huh. Because of the pleasure, because of how? Yeah.
Yeah, the pleasure. And, you know, I think I realized just recently that to go to the bathroom, I need to catheterize. And that's just like a plastic tube that you insert through the urethra, pee comes out, you chuck it away, one use wonder. And to do that, I need the assistance of personal assistants, which I know we'll get into. But I think that I disassociated from my genitalia in so many ways because it didn't feel like it, my vulva didn't feel like it was my own. It felt like it was a medical transaction, used for medical transactions. And I think feeling like I was desired, feeling desire, feeling pleasure was a way of reclaiming maybe part of me that I thought I'd lost.
Before we sort of move on to the caregivers in that relationship in your life, I do want to know, I would say many of us, when we start having sexual, intimate experiences, are not perhaps the best at vocalizing what we want or what feels good for us. But it strikes me that you two would have to, or you tell me, I would assume that there'd be a lot more communication necessary between you two in sort of intimate situations. And I guess I wonder, how were you learning to communicate in that way?
Well, I think as much as I felt I was sexually liberated at the age of 16, I also, lol, I also very much wasn't. And I think I'd internalized a lot of the man takes the lead and takes the initiative. I think that being disabled and being in my body and very much having to vocalize what I needed on a daily basis, whether it was like, oh, you've strapped my shoe on too tight, or this is pinching the back of my neck, or having to really attune to those moments and then vocalize them, I think helped me in the bedroom, because I would then be like, I want to get on top of you right now. You know, pull me on top of you. Or like, I think the way that I then initiated sex was that I had to communicate what I wanted them to do.
Okay, Kyla, we've been talking about how your accident affected your relationships with your parents, with this guy, but there's this other kind of relationship that enters your life, that will be a part of your life. It's your relationship with your caregivers. These are people who you hire to come to your house to help you. Can you tell me, like, what kind of assistance did you need at this stage? Can you kind of paint a picture for me of the type of care required in a typical day?
Yeah, absolutely. So I needed 24-hour assistance, and I didn't know or have any sort of rule book or anything that could guide you on what that meant. But I became an employer at 16 and had to interview, pick, train all of the PAs, which I call them personal assistants, to do my 24-hour care. And We often pick them, and I say we because my parents were also involved at times.
Of course. Right.
And because I was living with my parents, it became this kind of small community. And so they would also kind of work with my PAs too to provide me with whatever I needed.
Wow. And tell me what this meant, like the morning, the night routines. What did you need help with?
So, I mean, anything that you would need help with if you weren't able to use your hands or legs.
That makes sense, yeah.
But that kind of breaks down into, I would have stretches every morning and evening. I needed help with catheterization, going pee, also going poo. I needed help with that, help getting dressed, undressed, preparing meals, driving me to appointments, places, school, whichever. So anything that you can think of, I would need someone there.
I mean, you're talking about communicating with different PAs, and it strikes me that is a ton of communication to handle. How was that for you, learning how to speak to all these different people and communicate with all these different people in this way?
I mean, it was a rocky road and still is to this day. Yeah. I think that I never wanted to be an employer of PAs. And here I had kind of anywhere from 6 to 9 people that I would employ that would be coming in and out of my house that I have to schedule and pay. And it felt and still does feel like a lot of work. And that, that I needed to be professional in the middle of the night at 3:18 when I needed to pee,
Can you tell me, I mean, I'm just really curious what that means like in action, because how would you try to professionally communicate to a caregiver who's, on the night shift or whatever, I need to pee?
So I always use my phone, and they'd have a cell phone, and I'd call them, or I'd have like a buzzer in the house, and they would come, and I'd say, I need to pee. And if I had someone sleeping beside me, they would try and do their best to not disrupt them.
Like the boyfriend, for example?
For example. And they would, so then I'd have a catheter while they were, while whoever was sleeping beside me or not. And it just became normal. And at the time, I hired a lot of friends or friends of friends.
When you were like a teenager at your parents' house?
Yeah. Well, I mean, even up until when I was about 25.
Huh, yeah.
Because I think that I felt like I would be less disabled if I had my friends doing my care.
Explain that to me.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense, really, right? Like, it doesn't. It's not like my needs would change because there would be a different person doing my care. But I felt like it was a way that I could hang out with a friend. They could help me with everything I need, and they'd get some money for it.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a sweet deal.
I feel like it actually does make sense, at least like on an emotional level to me, I think. It's like, this is someone who would hang out with you without getting paid. And it just so happens that they're hanging out with you and they're helping you with some stuff. We already have this intimacy. We're just sort of taking it to another level, as opposed to this person who you hire, who's a stranger, you have to acclimate yourself to and them to you. You're mentioning hiring friends as PAs. And there comes a point where you ask one of your close friends to be one of your caregivers. Can you talk about that? How did that arrangement come about?
I went to film and TV school in Vancouver, and I met a friend there called Lee Getty, and we just instantly clicked and hit it off. And I think even within like a month of meeting her, I'd already given her my house keys. I was like, just come and whatever.
When you know, you know.
When you know,
Yeah.
exactly. When you know, you know. And to be alone, to have fun, to do whatever we wanted to do, to go wild. She learned how to catheterize me in basically any situation you could imagine.
You know, I ask about this too as kind of a transition to a scene in your TV show, which you made with Lee. This is a TV show called We Might Regret This. It is tragically not available in the US yet, but I've seen it. It's great. It's inspired by some of your experiences. The one I'm referencing is actually a catheterization that happens in an unlikely place. You need to explain what's happening in the scene. Can you do that for me?
Yes. So I play Freya, a character who has the same disability as me. And Elena Sorrell plays the character of Joe, who is my best friend and PA at the time. So you remember how to do...
Yeah, catheterization is my middle name.
And we are in an alleyway, and Joe is on her knees with my legs spread on either side of her body.
Do you see the urethra? Yeah, of course I do. Oh, there it is, sneaky little booger. Slowly. I know.
And I would say there's a part of this in which your character's pee splashes into the best friend's eye.
Shit! What? Oh, it really stings. Don't lick your lips. Oh, and it's salty.
Yes, of
Yes.
course. Yeah, that's just so normal to me now that I just completely forgot to mention that.
Is this clip, is this scene in the TV show inspired by true events in your life?
So I would say that nothing in the TV series has actually happened. Like none of the scenes have actually happened. Sure. However, have I peed in an alleyway? Yes. Has Lee had pee on her face? Yes. Was that pee mine? Yes.
I mean, it's, you know, I'm watching this scene. It to me, it expands my idea of what a friendship can be. Like, I love my friends. I feel like I'm really there for them, but I don't necessarily know what it feels like to have their pee in my eye, for example. Like,
for example, I don't know.
Yeah. Yet. Do these, I mean, in these moments where, again, not exactly the scene, you know, you didn't live exactly the scene, but these moments of intense intimacy with Lee, did it feel like you were becoming closer as friends, or was it a different kind of closeness? I'm curious.
Absolutely. No, I think that whenever I have someone do my care, there's an inherent intimacy in that. But when you have someone that, you know, you're in a relationship with or you're in a friendship with do it, it feels like you're part of some unbeatable team. And you feel like that in the world when, you know, you're with your best friend or your partner. Sometimes, but I think that there's this, it just absolutely enhanced sense of intimacy that happens. And Lee was like a bit of a PA ninja. I mean, she was fantastic at doing my care in so many ways. What she wasn't fantastic at was not being a friend and just being a PA.
Wow. What do you mean by that? I'm curious about that.
So if I, for instance, had my day planned and I'd be like, okay, we're going to go to this appointment and then we're going to go, she'd be like, why are you doing that? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
You mean like logistically?
Yeah. Like any opinion that she could have about my life. Because, you know, your friends are there to give you their opinion. That's like the friendship job.
So would it be like, you know, she's helping you get dressed and she's like, this shirt for real? Like that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. Like in all ways.
What about dating?
Well, I didn't really date until like 8 years ago or something. I'd always kind of like fallen into relationships with friends or friend of a friend. And so she was never there as someone who would come on a date, but she would be there if I was making out with someone on the dance floor. And we'd, you know, actually having her as a PA in those instances was great because we'd go to the bathroom and I'd need to pee and we'd just debrief about whoever I was making out with. You know?
Do that thing where you're like, can you see what they look like? And she's like, not really, the lights are too dark.
Yeah.
What about like sexual encounters? I mean, you mentioned a PA needing to come in at 3 a.m., when your partner's sitting next to you. Continue that like in the morning, when you're having your kind of like maybe sexy coffee time or whatever with this person you've had sex with, like Lee's also there. What was the morning after like?
Oh my gosh. Well, I remember a lot of morning afters with PAs when I would, have one night stands here and there. I remember one night when I had a one night stand, I had unprotected sex, obviously very hungover the day after. So hungover that I was like, I can't get out of bed to get the morning after pill. So I sent my PA to pretend that she had had unprotected sex to be able to get the morning pill after for me. And so they were asking her all about her unprotected sex.
She's like texting you under the table like...
And she did procure the morning after pill for me.
This wasn't Lee. This was someone else.
No, this was someone else. That's
because I feel like Lee'd be pretty good at this, to be honest.
Lee would be great. Lee would be great at that for sure.
That's okay. So they're coming, PAs coming in handy. It is so, I mean, we're talking about sort of Lee and this friendship, PA relationship. But I'm also curious if there was ever friction in this relationship between you and Lee as she's providing your care and also being your friend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, loads of friction because if she was late for her shift, it would be really frustrating, annoying. She would need to do my laundry and, my washing up and stuff like that. And she, and sometimes she wouldn't because she'd be like, oh, it doesn't feel like doing that today.
Yeah. Well, that's weird because if it was like in a professional relationship, perhaps it might be easier to be like, listen, I really need you to come on time, right? But with the friend, that feels different, right?
Absolutely.
Huh.
Yeah. And that's what complicated things. And we decided that it was best to not be in that kind of professional relationship. But it also, so we stopped it, but at the same time, every now and then, if I needed a PA over the years, I'd ask her to step in if she could. She was always kind of like my backup because I'd moved to the UK. I didn't have anyone else really. And it kind of started feeling like sleeping with an ex that you shouldn't sleep with.
Huh. Did sort of the ending of that employer-employee relationship, as it were, with Lee, did that change how you thought about having a person who you love, a friend otherwise, be responsible for your care? Were you like, I'm not going to do this again. From now on, just PAs I hire?
Absolutely.
Huh.
I think it made me realize, in a sense, how unboundaried I was.
Huh.
And that in order to get the care and the autonomy that I needed to be more boundaried. And that meant not hiring friends any longer.
Have you had romantic partners provide a significant amount of your care?
Yes. Yeah, I have. I do kind of negotiate with my partners about whether they want to learn or not.
Romantic partners.
Yes, romantic partners. Often it gets to a point where it's like, we want to be alone. We want to have time alone. And what does that mean? If I want to spend the night with someone, with just the two of us, which is obviously what you want to do a lot of the time as romantic partners.
Yeah.
It means that they would need to learn catheterization.
Yeah.
And I remember one partner that I was with, they'd learned how to catheterize me. And we wanted to go away for a while. And they were like, let me help you take a shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Like, that's my boundary, which has now been removed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted. But I get there. Yeah.
But at the time, you're
like, that's a line. I'm not wanting that.
Yeah. I remember this time my current partner, I've had a lot of problems with my bowels over the years, and now have a colostomy bag, a stoma bag, which is essentially where your waste or poo goes directly from your intestines into a bag.
Huh.
But which actually makes it quite tidy and neat, to be fair. And I was alone with my partner, and I had diarrhea, and she needed to assist me with that. And as she was doing that, I felt, because, when you're feeling unwell, you can feel not only really vulnerable, but pretty down on yourself. And I said to her, I don't know how you can still find me attractive. And she said, are you joking? I feel like this adds to our relationship because it is just another level of intimacy that you and I are experiencing together.
She said that to you?
Yeah.
Oh. It's intensely romantic and it spurs from diarrhea. I mean, what more could you ask for?
I swear I'm not just pissing and shitting all the time as well.
I mean, we kind of all are as humans. We'll be right back. Tell me about your partner. How long have you been together?
Oh my gosh, we have been together for 8 years. When I first met her, I felt this really gentle warmth. It felt like there was this innocence to it.
Huh. Interesting. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. I don't know. I suppose because I'd always known that I was queer from a very young age, from like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And I'd never had a relationship with a woman, but I had a lot of experiences. And so maybe it was just me being a baby gay that was the innocence.
Sure. Yeah.
But there was this gentleness for sure to us being together. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, 8 years into this relationship, how involved is your partner in your care these days?
Yeah. So whenever my partner and I want time alone, she assists me with whatever I need. And I have always been guided by her. I'm never guided by, in a sense, what I think I need. And she was really uncomfortable to begin with, catheterizing when we were out, because a lot of people thought that she was my PA or thought that she was a friend or a sibling, but which often happens in queer relationships. But and that was very difficult to navigate to begin with, because how do you reassure someone that it doesn't matter?
Yeah. What other people think. Yeah. So on a day-to-day, she is not providing your care, or because you have PAs, or what's the sort of, how does it work, on a day-to-day with her? Because you live together, right?
No.
Oh, you don't live together?
No, yeah. So I have 24-hour care from the 9 PAs that I have rotating in and out of my house. When we want time alone or to go away together alone, she does my care. But I would not be able to live with my partner or marry my partner without losing all of my government benefits.
Okay, this is a really important point that I want to make sure we understand. If you legally marry your partner.
If I just move in with my partner.
Wow. Because why? Why would that then negate the benefits?
Oof. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me, logically, financially. If they see my partner as being able to provide the care that I would need, they would then reduce the funding that I had for my own PAs. And of course, that's incredibly dangerous for a lot of people. A lot of disabled people are very much prone to abuse, specifically in relationships. And this law, unfortunately, I think encourages that.
Wow. The system is built on this idea that if you have a romantic partner, you will rely on them for part or maybe even all of your care. But from everything we've been talking about in terms of relying on friends for care or romantic partners for care, that does not seem like the kind of life you want to live, correct?
Absolutely. And I think that sometimes it does work for couples.
Sure, of course.
And I think, again, like disability and requiring care is not a monolith.
Yeah.
For me, I would never want that because I wouldn't feel like I had my full autonomy. Yeah.
You know, we're towards the end of our conversation, and we started our conversation talking about early sexual experiences, the boyfriend, the horny teen ward. And so it feels full circle to me to sort of end in a sexy zone as well. And this is a direct question, but it's modern love. So I am going to ask you, your partner of 8 years, how is your sex life? What is your sex life like?
Our sex life is always evolving.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the same with any couple. I mean, yeah, we would like shag all day for hours, like nonstop at the beginning of our relationship, like every relationship.
People really say shag? That's not like just in the movies?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah. They say shag, they say snog as well.
Okay. Sorry. You were shagging all the time.
All
in
the
early
time.
days, yeah.
All the time. But now it feels like, you know what it feels like?
Huh.
Feels like fucking equality. That's what sex feels like with her.
Tell me what you mean by that.
I think that maybe because I'd been with more men than women,
Yeah.
I hadn't realized that there's this performative aspect and this putting your sexual needs maybe not as front and center as your partner's. And I think that that's unconsciously encouraged a lot. And when we have sex, it feels gentle and fun and hot as fuck. And it feels loving and communicative.
Are there ways, you've had to get creative to have the kind of sex you want? I mean, you've had these years to explore.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, about getting creative.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like I'm also, because I'm not able to use my fingers and hands fully, I have come up with alternate ways of pleasuring her and different parts of my body and ways that I use different parts of my body to pleasure her. And she has said, and I don't think she make this up, but or do this for my ego, but she said it's the best sex she's ever had. So I think as a disabled person, the thing that I rely on most is creativity to exist in this world. Because, if there's a barrier, it's like, how do we get around it? Do we put a ramp on it?
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I was experimenting with BDSM, which I'm sure most of your listeners know is bondage, domination, sadomasochism.
Thank you for defining no.
Anytime. And I was just like, okay, well, I want to be able to dominate. I want to be able to like flog, and I'm not a passive part in my sex life. And so I called up an occupational therapist and I said, look, I was wondering if you could help me modify a sex toy. And she said, never had this request before, but come on in.
You said, pleasure to be the first?
Yeah. You're welcome. I went to the occupational therapist in her room and I pulled out a flogger and I said,
Wait, what? For those uninitiated, a flogger is like a...
Okay, so
what?
it's I would say like a gentle whip could be made of anything from rubber to leather that can increase, that is usually used on the bottom of your partner or whoever you choose, consensually, or any other part of their body to kind of stimulate and arouse through the pleasure-pain dichotomy.
That's a beautiful freaking definition of a flogger. Okay, you pull out a flogger.
And I say, how do I grip this? How do I
Yeah.
grip this tightly so that I'm not kind of like flogging and it flies out, or that it's,
That I'm flogging well. How do I flog well with this flogger?
Exactly. So she had a splint made for me so that I would be able to grip this flogger. And I was happy to report back to her that it worked.
And now this occupational therapist, the next time someone calls with a flogger question, can say, you know what? We've already handled this, so I know exactly what to do.
She's prepared. She's prepared
She is
now.
Prepared. Oh, I mean, and I love that creativity is like superpower, kind of a cheesy word. But I mean, it really does sound like that in a sexual sense, in a navigating the world sense. I mean, I guess I wonder in sort of a broader way, like, is there anything you've learned from having sex while disabled that you think you might not have learned otherwise?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so much. I mean, obviously, I didn't experience sex before
that is true. Yeah,
I was disabled. So this is all I have to go by. But I think it increases intimacy and communication. And I think what is more sexy in a relationship or in a one-night stand or whatever kind of partnership you want to have than intimacy and communication.
I mean, it sounds... I'm just thinking about, even at 16, you, me, sex soon. I mean, it's like the thing that people find difficult in sexual experiences, like, is a necessity for you, direct communication. And it does seem like that would increase... Yeah, I mean, I keep saying hot, but hotness. Do you think in some ways your sex life with your disability is better than the sex you might have had as an able-bodied person? That's kind of a difficult, question, but I'm curious.
I mean, I would use the term non-disabled rather than able-bodied because I think that refers usually just, to the body, almost able-bodied. And so I'd say non-disabled also involves like the body and mind. And is more inclusive. And I would say that, being disabled has 100% made my sex hotter than it was. Or could have been.
Because of the communication and the intimacy. Yeah. Like, what are the things you have to communicate about in sexual situations?
Well, it can often seems like it comes in the form of demands and commands. Turn over, get on your knees, spread your legs, sit on my face.
Yep.
I feel like you're blushing, Hannah.
I'm getting a picture.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that's why you always ask a follow-up, isn't it? Yeah. And that kind of like, demands in like a sexy way.
Yeah.
Totally.
Exactly. And I think I am more embodied as a disabled person than most non-disabled people I know. I am so in tune with if something is a little bit awry or feels a bit off, or I'm very, very aware of my sensations and my needs, my gut feeling, my intuition, because I've had to be. And I think that makes better sex as well. It's like really being present and in your body in those moments.
Kyla, I'm thinking about younger you in the hospital, getting to know this new reality and this changed body. And I'm wondering if, looking back now from where you are, if you'd have advice for someone who might be younger, dating, falling in love, being intimate, having sex, someone who has a disability. Do you have any advice?
Oh my gosh. Yes, so much that it's going to be hard to fit it into a soundbite. But I would say that no matter what the world tells you, what society tells you, that you are intrinsically valued. And that you are so worthy of care for yourself, care for others, of loving yourself, and of feeling joy and pleasure, and that it's there.
Kyla Harris, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Anna Martin, it has been an absolute pleasure.
The Modern Love team is Davis Land, Elisa Gutierrez, Lynn Levy, Reva Goldberg, and Sarah Curtis. This episode was produced by Reva Goldberg. It was edited by Lynn Levy. Our mix engineer was Daniel Ramirez. Original music in this episode by Alicia Beitup, Marian Lozano, and Dan Powell. Dan also composed our theme music. The Modern Love column is edited by Daniel Jones, and Mia Lee is the editor of Modern Love Projects. If you'd like to submit an essay or a tiny love story to the New York Times, we've got the instructions in our show notes. I'm Anna Martin. Thanks for listening.